Hello, my name is Alexander Borschel. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with the actual channel that I run over on Marshall Borschel. You're going to have to forgive me that the voice is not the most clear right now, getting over a bit of a cold. I wanted to create a new section of the channel where it actually explores the more writings that I have done for martial arts. A little bit of background about me. I'm 36. I'm American. I was born in West Germany, and I spent most of my time growing up in Virginia, right side of DC. Right now, I live in Israel. This is because I run a tech company, but martial arts is still a very integral part of what we build, and the channel itself has a somewhat focus on martial arts. I would actually say a very strong one. This is partially because I also run one of the larger martial arts networking communities. We've also produced an app, of course. But what I really wanted to dig into is my background began in Taekwondo and Hapkido. I'm 36, but I began 33 years ago. I'm currently a third dan in Changakwan and Murakwan, and I have a first dan in Changmukwan. And this was before I reached the age of 16. I'm what you might call a lifer. I began because this was something that has always been part of my core being, but my practices have, of course, over the last 30 years and international travel led to a lot of really interesting experiences, and I was very lucky to actually grow up in DC, where I was able to train under teachers who were descended from Junri to Junri. So getting to learn from the actual founders of the martial art has been wonderful. I was also a member of the Cherrydale Kendo Club. I've been practicing Kendo on and off for the last 20 years, and I have off and on done Jig and Ryu as a participant of that, and that's before the age of 15. When I was 17, I got into more Thai and American-based Krav Maga. All of this I'm going to get more into in a later time, but I want you to understand my background and experience, mainly because I don't want you to think that I'm just pulling this from the never. Since then, I've also practiced in Bagwajong. I've got limited Taijiquan experience. I've practiced in multiple continents. There were peripheral arts that I practiced in, of course, because of the Chengduquan Taekwondo. This is very similar to Tang Sudo, which is very similar to Shotokan. I have experience in Shorin Ryu, and the weapons diversity is immense, and you can, of course, see it on my channel. The goal isn't, of course, to try to talk about my accolades. I'm not a professional fighter. I have used martial arts in self-defense to protect myself, but this is more as I begin to get ready to publish this, I would like to bring it into the channel, not only because the YouTube algorithm is changing, and of course that means we need to adjust how we actually engage with our audiences, but there's a lot of tutorial videos on my site, but there's not much that actually digs into the deeper ethos of it. The goal is not in this video to go totally into this. This is going to be a periodic thing where I go sort of chapter by chapter that I believe are relevant and worth publishing or developing or expanding upon within a video. Some of them are going to be on techniques. Some of them are going to be on parables. Believe me, I've been around the block, so this is one of the things that I consider a calling in my life, among the other things that I do, such as technology and nonprofit work and gardening. I'm a big gardener. But what I wanted to bring into this is sort of how TMA can still intermesh within the current zeitgeist atmosphere of the world life. I mean, no longer are we going to temples and training in the West, and even in the East, things are becoming more commercialized. One of the things I want to make sure that you guys understand is this is grounded in my experience. So you can consider this anecdotal, but again, a lot of this has been passed down by my teachers in the different styles, and I've been blessed because I live near DC to actually get to practice with some of the best martial artists in their respective careers. For example, when I was a member of the Cherrydale Kendo Club, I was able to actually practice with the Miyazaki brothers, who are the current top dogs in Kendo. When I was, gosh, there's so many. When I was at the Cheongdaekwon school, it turns out the Red Power Ranger that when I was 3 got me influenced into it. I actually got to spar him at one of the BBQs. So it's, a very diverse story. I've practiced in Virginia, DC, West Virginia, New York, of course, Colorado when I was practicing Bagwajong and Cheongdaekwon. And then, of course, I've practiced within Hungary in Kendo. One of my favorite moments was at the NVCC campus, getting to practice with Saotome Sensei out of Aikido. And of course, I have a strong Hapkido background. And I have used this in self-defense, both to protect others and myself. This has, of course, led to court battles. So all of these nuances are things that I want to delve into in the sort of exploration of this manuscript, because I am eventually going to publish it, but I do believe that there's elaboration that can, with feedback from the audience or just from going through it, I can update it. Because again, I wrote this about 10 years ago when I first moved to Israel and was training extremely hard back in the Jigen Rai style. So roughly 10,000 strikes a day for practically every strike. So we were talking 12-hour training periods. Now, as you guys know from the channel, I'm rather small, but it doesn't mean that there aren't insights and success stories within this. My goal for this is to introduce you into both the topical levels of martial arts, some of the culture, parables that can inspire you into reaching deeper into your own practice, and really giving you food for thought on how you want to engage with it. The current way that I plan on doing this is through, I wouldn't necessarily going through each one, because again, a lot of these are drawn from blogs. There's a lot of quotes that are not really necessary, but add context within martial arts history, which is also a part of this. This is not just Taekwondo. It includes Chinese martial arts, Japanese martial arts. Some of my experience over with Silat, a lot of the experience I have in Krav Maga, both in the United States and now in Israel, and among many other ones. It has existential explorations such as what is a black belt, down to individual texts such as the actual Earth Book and essential reading. And of course, this is going to get better organized as we go through this. But the goal of this is to help you guys can't even see this, but the way is to help you guys be more introduced into martial arts ethos, the Bushido spirit. It's not something that's in the past. It still fully exists, and there are dedicated martial artists that are pushing the envelope forward. There are sokes and Japanese systems from the West now. It's changing times. No longer is it whose style, who's best. It's how, based on our differences, can we work together to collaborate and create either something new or self-refine within our own systems. So, of course, there's books like the Book of Five Rings. There's translations. There's my own journey in it. There's stuff from Paulo Coelho. Not all of this is going to be relevant, so I understand if not every single video that we get into is going to be necessarily relevant. But we will be digging into deeper things, such as martial arts and the Zeno effect, Ayurvedism and Neja, for how you can improve your health, among two martial arts parables, which are some of the greatest writings out there. There is fair amount of technical stuff in here. For example, it explores penetrating versus crushing. So we're not just talking about a topical level of how to make a fist or the parts of the hand that you use in different strikes and different styles. This is a comprehensive text based on the martial arts community that we built, with over 5,000 members within the community itself and over 50,000 beyond it. Alongside the research that we do, very specifically here. Sorry, I just want to show you guys a bit more of this. So I just want to make this as a relatively brief introduction video. The other videos are going to be longer and going chapter by chapter as they're cleaned up. I'm going to try to clean it up before I make the video. But as you know, the way that this channel kind of runs is rather ad hoc. I welcome you guys to give me feedback. You guys aren't going to agree with everything. A lot of the stuff has been tested under trial by fire by either people more experienced than me or by myself. And I can tell you what it's like to rush someone with a gun or protecting a friend while it's in that situation. When someone pulls a knife, what you can do, how to get into a car safely. Martial arts goes beyond just the actual pragmatic techniques that we practice. In a very real sense, it's also how we choose to live and mitigate these situations before they arrive. When they do, there's also a lot of tricks and techniques and strategies and conditioning methods that can be both beneficial and dangerous, depending on how you engage in them. So my goal is to show you guys the sort of master martial arts manuscript that I've built. There's also additional hard copy books that I've written that track techniques that I want to share. But apart from that, my goal is to show you guys that there are very deep research being done within the community. And I would like to share some of my experience with those that are interested. Not everything that I write and say is going to be necessarily agreed with or even correct, but my style in martial arts has been very pragmatic and has enabled me to survive not only in the United States, but in Europe and in the Middle East, even in the middle of a war as I record this. There's a lot of information that when I was growing up was not available. So this is something that required traveling to multiple continents to actually be able to collect and aggregate and actually practice in a way that I've been able to see the results. So I welcome you also, of course, to always join the community, and I welcome you in joining me in exploring this text, because believe me, it's like 400 pages. And this doesn't even include the hard copies, and there's a bunch of stuff missing in here. I just want to scroll through real quick so you guys can see what you guys have. So, for example, there's even entire systems of techniques that are included in here. So we're going to continue expanding this, and there's a lot of resources built within it. And it's comprehensive for global cultures, and it's open for those who are open-minded. I'm likely going to publish this when it's in more cleaned up form, but also make it a public resource for both the subscribers and, of course, our participants within the community itself. So, thank you for listening, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day and are staying safe. Take care.